Hey film buffs, are you a fan of the inappropriate age gap, child endangerment, and fraud of the early 90s movies Blank Check? Or the let's steal a bunch of money and go hide amongst the Amish plotline from the movie For Richer or Poor? If so, then do I have a movie for you. The movie's called Holy Matrimony. You can watch it right now for free on YouTube, and as you can tell by the movie poster, it's a doozy. Holy Matrimony was the first film that Joseph Gordon-Levitt had a starring role in, and it was directed by the original Spock, Leonard Nimoy, in his last directorial outing, probably because this movie made about $700,000 on a budget of $16 million, and probably for good reason. But that's all the background we need. Let's get into talking about the movie. So the film opens up and we meet one of our main characters, Havana, played by Patricia Arquette, and she is a Marilyn Monroe impersonator for a county fair, and she's part of a very weird dunk tank. You really wouldn't call it a dunk tank, I guess you'd call it a blow tank, because when Dale hits the bullseye, instead of Marilyn falling into dirty septic water, her dress gets blown up by like a leaf blower to recreate the iconic Marilyn Monroe photo, which I understand the concept, but it's creepy.
Look at that skin up there, huh?
And it doesn't make any sense because there are other impersonators at the fair, but they're not all Marilyn Monroe. We meet one that's Cleopatra, and unless I missed something, I don't remember a hieroglyph of Cleopatra getting her dress blown up as she walks over a grate. After this establishing scene, we see Havana and her boyfriend Peter rob the fair's owner, who was formerly a CEO of a cereal company in Chicago, and they take all the money that the fair made that night. And I don't think they ever say how much money the actual fair made, but we hear Havana say later,
Fair doesn't need that money. They make more money than that every day.
and
The state fair has offered a $25,000 reward for the return of this money.
so you can say it's probably an obscene amount of money. And on top of the reward, the FBI is brought in to track down the thieves because no one crosses the Flying Dutchman, and Peter's face is soon plastered all over the news. So to get away from the news coverage, the lovers run to the remote country of Canada to the Brethren commune that Peter grew up in. It's quickly established that the elders do not like Havana's smoking, short skirts, swearing, and rock and roll, but they're willing to overlook all of this if she marries Peter in holy matrimony and becomes his devout wife. And you're probably thinking that's where the movie gets its title, but you would be wrong. Because the next day after getting married, Peter takes his 12-year-old brother to town and starts drinking, seeing himself on the news, finding out the FBI knows that he's in the Brethren commune, so he decides to drive 100 miles an hour drunk back to the commune with his brother in the passenger seat and has this accident. The accident looks like something out of a Fast and Furious movie, but luckily his younger brother Ezekiel was ejected from a car, which is a sentence that no one has ever said, but somehow that saves him, and not only does that save him, he doesn't even have a scratch on him. And where the movie really gets its title, to fulfill the community's strict biblical guidelines, Zeke must marry this 26-year-old stranger.
What did she say?
The day after he watched his brother brutally die in a flaming car crash that he was in himself, or she has to leave the commune.
Do you want to marry me or not, you dumb pig?
And she can't leave because Peter hid the money somewhere and she has to find it before she can go Splitsville, so she agrees to marry this literal child.
So, if the only way I could stick around here and soak up more of this religion stuff is to get hitched to the little midget, then count me in.
The next day, JGL finds the money and begins to extort Havana into becoming a good wife. And I'm not sure how long he was planning on keeping this up for, because eventually he would either have to give her the money or give up. I guess he was just waiting for her to become a good wife on her own and not be motivated by money. But that doesn't happen, and eventually Zeke finds the newspaper that Peter buried with the money, saying that he was the one that stole the money, which is really stupid for a criminal to do. They'd be like stealing someone's car and leaving your license on the passenger seat whenever you leave it somewhere. It just doesn't make sense. After he finds out that the money is stolen, Ezekiel takes the money to the elders.
The money should be burned.
Burn?
Who agree that it's a good idea for this literal child to go to America to return the money to the fair to atone for his brother's sins. And instead of sending him with his parents, they decide to send him with his bride. So not only are the elders okay with sending this little child on an international adventure to a town that he's never been to without GPS that they wouldn't use anyway because they're brethren, but they want to send the woman that they just met who none of them liked and none of them trust, along with him to be the chaperone. A woman that I might add had been seen threatening and chasing him around the commune. They're okay with sending her along.
Of all of them, I love Leviticus the most.
And everybody in this community has only known this woman for at most 2 weeks, and we know it's only been 2 weeks because the fair is still going on. But I guess they were okay with a 12-year-old marrying a 26-year-old, so maybe their judgment isn't the best. And it's not just the Brethren community that has a weird reaction to a child marrying an adult. Nobody in this film has the proper reaction to that weird situation going on. I mean, the FBI agent's hot on their trail, and this is his reaction.
She married a kid.
Yeah. It's all fine.
And the Border Patrol agent that checks him in the US has this reaction.
It is our honeymoon. He's just nervous, that's all.
Picking him kind of green, aren't you?
Another weird thing is there must only be one road from the community to the fair that they're going to, because Havana ditches the little boy in some random town, and the FBI agent just happens to find him and then literally runs his suspect off the road with the little brother and boy in the passenger seat. He was in a car accident at most 3 days ago, and now he has to deal with this crap. And then in order to get Havana to give up the money, this FBI agent sticks a literal gun to this 12-year-old's head. Someone should probably take his badge before he does something really crazy, like shoots the back window out of a fleeing truck. Too late. Well, luckily for everybody involved, no one is hurt, and the Lovebirds do make it to the fair, where the kid is nabbed again by the agent, and no one helps the screaming child where this adult is grabbing him. The agent flashes some badge,
FBI!
but then literally punches a child in the face. I mean, if the President of the United States was walking down the street and punched some kid in the face, I think someone would intervene. I don't think a badge is gonna stop anybody, but no one has the right reactions in this movie, so they just let it go. Ezekiel eventually saves himself by hijacking a tractor and scooping the bad guy up in a bucket. They return the money, no one goes to jail, and Havana promises to come back in 10 years to collect her child groom. So in all, this movie has a robbery, a fiery car crash, 2 weddings,
I do.
I do.
a funeral, 2 attempted kidnappings,
Now hand it over or I get ugly.
and a high-speed car chase, all within the time it takes to have a county fair. And that's why it's the greatest movie ever made. If you have any weird movies you want me to watch and I'll have access to make a video about, let me know down in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.